Today's van tour brings us all the way to Kenya, Africa, where we meet up with Ebade, who is a solo female van life traveler living in a 1987 Nissan converted van. In today's tour, she's also going to go over some of the safety measures that she incorporated for her own safety. So join us.
Hello Patrick, I'm so excited to be on New Jersey Outdoor Adventures, and today I'm happy to give you a walkthrough tour of my 1987 Nissan Vanette that I live in full-time. My name is Ebade. I'm Nigerian who moved to Kenya last year. I decided to buy this van in September last year, and I spent the last 3 months of the year building the van. I moved in January this year, and since then I've been living in this full-time. I will start with everything at the entrance. So at the entrance, I have the graffiti and partition. The van didn't come with the partition. I decided to install this for two main reasons: for security and for my sanity. So for security, I want you to do some work before you reach me at the back of my van. I want you to break the window and then try to break the graffiti before you reach me. I want to be ready, and that was why I installed this. Then for the graffiti, I am Nigerian, and that's not a nationality that just is taken lightly. Like, it stays with you very, very strongly. And so I decided to put this. This is the Nigerian flag, green, white, green, Africa. And then for everything on the graffiti, on the map of Africa, we have the lion, we have the elephant, we have the giraffe. Everything signifies Kenya. When you think of wildlife safari in Africa, the first thing that comes to your mind is Kenya. Yeah, mostly Kenya. So I decided to show that I am Nigerian doing this in Kenya, and that was the idea behind the graffiti. It has a door that helps me crawl into the cabin and crawl out, and it also has a lock. The lock only locks from here and not from the front. So this is my kitchen. I decided to make the most of my tiny space. My van is very tiny. I don't have a fridge because my solar panel has I think it's 60 watts, and I don't have enough space for a fridge. I have a top that I can take out, and that reveals the sink that I use, and I close it. I mostly decided to do a top so everyone doesn't just see the sink when they see it and know, oh, this is a kitchen, oh, this is a whole house. No, I didn't want that, so I decided to cover this. I am using a USB faucet, and this socket is for this faucet. I get to charge it and use it for my plumbing. My plumbing is here. I use all these places for storage, plates, pots, spoons, and everything. Here I mostly have food that are scattered, and so on and so forth. Moving on, let's talk about the walls. The walls are insulated with blankets. So when I wanted to start building, because there aren't so many people who have built vans here, I was restricted to having to get all my info from people who had built in the United States, which wasn't so good, because I remembered calling so many companies for insulation materials and I couldn't get. So it was someone who advised me to go for blankets. I think they are generally known here. So we insulated the walls with blankets, walls and ceiling with blankets. And then for the graffiti, I used plywood. We call it cardboard here as well. This is all plywood. For the walls, I used something we call marine board. The front here has 6 inches marine board, and then the back, the grooved ones, the ceiling and the walls here have 9 inches marine board. The ceiling, these grooves didn't come with the wood. They were lines that were put in, so it would be like they were put in naturally. I don't know how natural they look, but they work for me. I love them. Then for the toilets, no one knows that this is a toilet. Like, it's just wood that is in my van with this red beauty on it, but it's a toilet. So this is how I use my toilet. I remove this and it reveals my toilet. So this is the toilet. It's just a potty, and it's for my number 1. My number 2, well, I do my number 2 in several ways that I'm not going to be mentioning right now. Let me tell you more about the toilet. So this is how I use it. I sit on it here, and when I want to remove it, I bring it out of here and bring it out like this to clean. So that's it for my toilet. So for the floor, this floor was given to me by the owner of the workshop I used to build the van. They are waterproof. Like, immediately I'm applying water on the floor, it disappears immediately. So I am in love with the floor. We had to cut them to make this because it was hard to get curved wood for this, so we had to cut them to create all this. So you'd see the lines. That was the creation. We put some on here because it was just metal from the engine. Yeah, that makes this. So when I want to cook, this is how I cook. I either use here or the one under. There are drawers for cooking. So I put this here, and this cooker comes on it, and that makes for my indoor kitchen. I have two kitchens. I have an outdoor kitchen that I'll show you shortly. So I have the sticker that is just paper, the normal sticker that you remove the paper from the back and then you stick it to the wall. That's basically it. But it looks beautiful. It works for me. Okay, so let's move on to the bed and storage. So for the bed, I initially wanted a sofa that converts into a bed, but that wasn't doable because my van is tiny. And I came to realize that storage would be very limited if I had done a sofa that converts into a bed, because then I would only have storage on both ends and the ones in the middle would be lost in the idea of turning a sofa to bed. So I decided to do a stationary bed, an unchangeable bed. How do they call it again? And then it's extendable. So this is how I make my bed at night. I lift this because this toilet also doubles as an extension for the bed. I put out the drawer to stay here. I put these two here, and when I put my bed sheets, it makes a queen-sized bed, a queen-sized L-shaped bed, and this is where I sleep. Most times I sleep diagonally because I am 5'11", I am not as tall as this. But when I want to sleep straight, I have another way of making my bed. So here is how I make my bed when I want it to be straight. So this one, I just turn it like this, then put this here, and put this here, and I have a longer bed. This is exactly my height, 5'11", and I am very happy with this. So for storage, I have 6 compartments under the bed. I have 3 compartments here for my clothes. I have 3 compartments in the front as well. The 2 compartments here don't open because there is the toilet and there is the cooker, so there is no point in opening them, but the one in the middle opens. In front, I have something like this. It raises in front, and that's how I can access everything in the storage unit in front. Here we have the bed. Here we have the storage. Then here I have everything electrical. I have my battery, I have my inverter, my charge controller, and then everything is connected to the solar panel up. So basically, it's not a lot. It's mostly used to charge my phone and my battery, and that's all. And then it's connected to the car battery. So when this battery is low, the car battery takes over. And I think that's it for the bed. The interior of the back was mostly made in support of this. It was cut for the windows. So for the outdoor kitchen, this is how it works. I pull this out, then take my cooker, I place my cooker underneath the van and place this here, and this makes for my outdoor kitchen. This is where I cook most times since I moved to the coast, because it's really hot here and it is really hard to cook inside the van. So this is what my outdoor kitchen looks like. Then I have the bedroom storage for mostly clothes. My van came with windows, and because of security, I decided to remove all windows and install metal sheets instead, and not to do a conventional window. So this window has bars that open. So a hand can't go into this, and it makes me feel secure. I have 2 of these. I have this here, and I have this at the back. And these are all the windows I have for the house. So that's why I need 2 fans for the coast, because I'm on the coast right now. Let's talk about the rooftop. On the rooftop, I have a sunroof. This was installed. The van didn't come with a sunroof. I installed it, and it is a Honda Civic sunroof. I decided to use a sunroof because I knew I would block the van. I didn't want windows. I didn't want glass. Glasses are too vulnerable. I wanted metal. And because of that, I needed a sunroof for when I'm cooking, for when I'm in a hot place, so it would be the air. With a sunroof, no one would know that I'm in the van. This is not something that is common in Africa. This is not something you get to learn from a fellow African. So it was very important for me to feel safe enough to want to live in a van. So yeah, that was the idea of the sunroof, for air and for security. And then at the back, I have my sunset rack. This serves several purposes. I mean the sunset rack. It is for storage. It's for hanging out at sunset. I put this there, and then I can chill. I can sit down there and have a good time. And also, it's a hanger for my hammock. It's not every time you can find two trees that are close to each other. So sometimes I just tie one end of the hammock to my sunset rack and the other end to a tree, and that makes for a nice evening relaxation. So what have I not talked about? So for the sunroof, the switch is here. The switch is from the normal car chair switch that we modified. We decided to put it there and connected it to the sunroof. So when I push it, it either opens or closes. For my electricity, the electricity at the back, the battery and everything I showed you, I have two lights. The one there, and there's another one here for the kitchen. So I have two lights and 3 sockets. There is one here, there's another socket here, and then there is another one in front. So for the solar panel, it's just 60 watts and it's connected to the battery at the back. So it's not a lot. I mostly use it for just my phone and my laptop, but it serves a good purpose. And that's all about my rooftop. I have the solar panel, the sunroof, and my sunset rack. So I think it's time to talk about the cabin area. Now, I bought this van as a shell. Shell here, what we call shell, means that it has absolutely nothing in it. But I didn't buy it without the engine. I bought it with the engine. So that means every other thing was nothing. Everything was installed. And that included the cabin. So the chairs were modified to fit into this space, this small space for the engine. Then this was also modified. It's peeling now because so many mechanics. So I had a long history of changing mechanics because I don't understand the language and it was a lot of problem. But anyway, so many people worked on it and it was put down a lot. So it has peeled, which I have to do something about very soon. But anyway, this was modified to, this was built, this is all wood. It's a cup holder for my phone and for storage. I have a music system. So there are 2 speakers. The first speaker is in the bedroom. It's part of my storage unit. And this is the second speaker. So when I drive, it just blasts. So for the interior, the dashboard, the steering wheel, the chairs, the interior here, everything was done by Perfect Stitch. It was an installation, and I am really happy with everything done because it comes out very well. This is a half-gear manual van. I installed this. I am still struggling with this, with driving a manual van, because I learned with an automatic car and I had driven automatic for a long time. It was so hard getting used to a manual car, but I'm getting there. I had to install this handle. It didn't have this before, and it's working well for me. This is a carburetor engine. It's a lot of hassle, but yeah, we are getting used to it. Then for the front, everything was installed. The wiper, headlamp, the bumpers, the back and front, everything was removed to put these ones. Even the plates, the side mirrors, everything was modified. Everything, the old ones were taken away. The windscreen, I had to install this. Everything has been installed. So the idea of van life for me was for freedom. I wanted to be free. I wanted to get out of the confines of living in a 4-walled house where you have to pay for rent every month. It's like chasing something every 30 days, and it was just too much. And it takes away from the freedom of having to travel to wherever you want to go to, because then you are paying for rent in one place and then you are paying for Airbnb in another place. So that was what birthed the idea of wanting to have a van. I really do want fellow Africans to know more about van life, because there are so many benefits to this, apart from the adventurous part of it, apart from the free part of it. It helps with money, it helps with savings, it helps with not having to just chase after rent. And I wish more people knew about it. I wish the roads weren't as lonely as they are. I wish more people in Africa would embrace this. I wish we could build a community. I wish I had another African to ask about my van build. I wish I didn't have to struggle so much. I would love to encourage other Africans to do this. If a Nigerian could move from West Africa to East Africa where she doesn't understand the language and then buy a carburetor engine van and then that is half gear manual that she didn't even know how to drive and then built it with a lot of men who speak a foreign language and then she could make it into this tangerine colored handsome thing, then I think anybody can do it. Thank you so much for watching. I am on YouTube if you want to follow my journey at Go Abide, and also on Instagram at Go_Abide. Thank you and bye.